Now in this lesson we will be discussing how to find out electric potential if electric field is known, and also the reverse, which is how to find out electric field if electric potential is known. Some of the concepts that we've used in this lesson are discussed in the earlier parts, in part 1 and 2. So I suggest you go through those lessons also and then maybe come back to this lesson. So first of all, let's take a look at how can we find electric potential if electric field is given to us. See, the work done in moving a test charge Q naught from A to B is given by, work done would be integral F dot dl, where F is the force applied and dl is a short element of the path while moving the particle from A to B, and the force can be written as the charge times the electric field. So we have E dot dl, and since Q is a constant, we put it outside the integral sign. Now dividing both sides by this test charge Q naught gives us integral E dot dl. Now we've learned earlier that this work done by the test charge Q naught is the potential difference VA minus VB. Now this result was discussed in part 2. So if you're not familiar with this, you can go through this lesson first. Now finally, let's just put the final result over here. VA minus VB, which we'll call VAB, is integral E dot dl. So we can write this as E dl cos phi, and the limits of integration are from A to B. If you noticed in this definition, we either call the potential difference equal to the work done by the electric field in carrying a test charge Q naught from A to B, or we can say the same thing can be said as the work done by the electric force in carrying a unit charge from A to B. Okay, now let us understand this relation in a slightly simpler form. Suppose we take a case when the work done is positive, which means, let's say you have a positive charge over here and you have an electric field which is outwards in this direction, and say we carry a test charge Q naught from a point A over here to the point B. Now in this case, since the electric field E and the path along which the charge is being carried, let's say we call this dl, are both in the same direction, so the work done will be positive. So the work done to carry the charge from A to B, the work done by the electric field is positive. Now if you look at the right hand side of this equation, if this is positive, then this should also be positive, which means VA minus VB is positive. And if VA minus VB is positive, then this implies that VA has to be greater than VB. So the potential at A will be greater than the potential at B. V at A is greater than V at B. Now if VA is greater than VB, if VA is greater than VB, this means that the electric potential decreases in this direction. If you move along the direction of the electric field, that gives us the direction of the decreasing potential. Now this can also be written as E is equal to minus dV by dr. Now this observation can be summarized as follows. When you move in the direction of the electric field, you are moving in the direction of decreasing potential, because VB is less than VA, and when you move in the direction opposite to the electric field, which means if you're moving from a point over here towards a point over here, in that case you're moving in the direction of increasing potential, because closer to the positive charge the potential is going to be higher. If you recall, the electric potential due to a point charge is given by kq over r. So as you move away, the electric potential decreases, and when you're closer to the charge, the electric potential is higher. Now let's look at this case when we have a negative charge, and you can see in this case the direction of the electric field is inwards. Now say we move from point A to B in the direction of the electric field, then work done in moving from A to B will be positive, since the electric field and displacement are in the same direction. Now work done per unit charge will be VA minus VB, and that too should be positive, which implies that VA should be greater than VB. So in this case, the point which is at a greater distance, which is further away, is at a higher potential than the point which is closer to the charge. Now this makes sense because in case of the negative charge, the potential is more negative when you are close to the charge, and it is less negative when you are away from the charge. So it is higher at the point A as compared to the point B. This is at a lower potential. So once again we can summarize the same statement and say that when you move in the direction of the electric field, you're moving in the direction of decreasing potential. And if you move in the opposite direction, which means if you move opposite to the electric field, you're moving in the direction of increasing potential. Next, let's take a look at a special case. Let's see what is the direction of the electric field with respect to an equipotential surface. As the name implies, an equipotential surface is one on which all the points are at the same potential. Suppose this is the equipotential surface, then at all points of this surface the potential is the same, which is there is no potential difference. Now say we move a charge Q naught from A to B, which are 2 points on this equipotential surface, then we know that the work done in moving the work done by the electric field in moving a charge Q naught from A to B will be given by integral E dot dl. So the work done per unit charge is E dot dl, which is equal to VA minus VB. Now since both these points are on the equipotential surface, VA minus VB is equal to 0. Now this gives us integral E dot dl equals 0. Now what we are going to prove is we are going to prove something by contradiction. See, we want to prove that the electric field is always perpendicular to the equipotential surface. Say this is an equipotential surface, and we are going to prove that the electric field is always perpendicular to the equipotential surface. Now say we say that the electric field is not perpendicular, which means it is at a certain angle with the equipotential surface. In that case, this electric field has a component in this direction. It has a component in the direction of the direction along the equipotential surface. So if you move the charge from A to B, the work done can't be 0, because E dot dl is not going to be 0. You have an electric field in this direction. But according to this formula that we've used, since the potential is the same, this work done should be 0. So this means that the electric field must be perpendicular to the equipotential surface at all points of the equipotential surface. To draw the equipotential surfaces, if you're given an electric field, say you're given an electric field over here, this is another electric field, you're given two configurations and you're asked to draw the equipotential surfaces. Now, since we know that the electric field and the equipotential surface are perpendicular to each other, if we simply draw planes which are perpendicular to this, these are at 90 degrees. So if we simply draw planes perpendicular to the field lines, then these will be the required equipotential surfaces. In this case also we can draw planes which are perpendicular to the electric field lines. And since you know that there are infinite field lines, and if you join all these, we'll ultimately get a sphere. So we'll have spheres which are equipotential surfaces. Now let's just summarize what we've learned in the lesson today. One is that VA minus VB is equal to integral E dl cos phi from A to B. The electric field is in the direction of decreasing potential. The same formula at times is used in the form of V is equal to E times D. V is equal to E times dr, a distance. So V is equal to E times D, where D is the distance between 2 points in the electric field. And the final result that we have is this, that the electric field is perpendicular to the equipotential surface. You can answer this question and just see if you've understood the lesson so far. Now the question is, does a negative charge fall from a high potential to a low potential? This is a high potential and this is a low potential, and we have a negative charge over here. Now, does a negative charge fall from a high potential to a low potential, just as a stone falls from a greater height to a lesser height? A stone would fall down. So does a negative charge also similarly fall towards the lower potential?